Now, to orientate myself, I arrived at the bus station at the top where Shane from the NATO troops in Kosovo and I chatted on the bus at length. Came down the street to the left, which looks like it's Hostel Boulevard, although you can't tell that because they use their language, which is printed underneath it. Came down the street where my index finger is moving, and down all the way down here to Macedonia Boulevard and Macedonia Square. There's the hostel there. This is Hostel Mostel. There are dorm rooms there, 5, 6, and 8 people per room. But where I'm staying tonight, if you can believe it, is in the loft, they're calling it. And what it is the attic. They've managed to figure out a way to open up that whole cavity, put beds on the floor, and rent it out. It's exactly something I would do. So I'll be there for one night until a room opens up. It'll give me a down bunk in a dorm room. So I'll pan 360 so you can see the loft. Exactly what it appears to be. They walled it off here, put the electrical in, put the mattresses down, a few beds. There's a couch back there. And at €9 a pop, that's approximately €180 a night if it's filled. That's a dang good deal, considering that most places this would be unused space. There's the steel door to Hostel Mostel, and as I pan back, I'm looking at Ploshad, Macedonia, which means Macedonian Square, although we are in Bulgaria. And these streets are very wide to accommodate the electric trolleys. And these were probably the original streets. And then the ones off to the side here, I don't know what they were for, maybe carriages. But now I'm just starting my first walkabout. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon of the day I got here to Sofia, Bulgaria. I just saw this pretty house that I was looking for. Old house, but what lovely architecture on the roof, which is where you usually find the best architecture. Okay, so this is my first transaction with Lev money, or Bulgarian money. It's called the Lev. It's worth about 1.5 times a US dollar. And so I just gave her a 2 Lev coin for a Snickers bar. Notice hypocrisy. And I got change back of what looks like 1 Lev plus a 5, a 10, and a cute little 1 coin. Here's another older building. I love the arches that they put on the roofs. I'm taking a wandering roundabout way to look for the restaurant I want to eat in tonight. This is a very pretty inner street. There's the maple trees and commercial building, businesses small on the bottom and residential above. Reminds me of what other European cities are like. So right now I'm just above the NA, and that church is actually in this area right here where the blue is. This is the front of the church with a statue of a sea otter for some reason. Since I'm over here, I'm going to walk down here until I hit this first street and walk up, which should get me pretty close to my restaurant at number 7. I crossed over Vitosha Boulevard a few moments ago, and now I'm about ready to turn behind myself. The Palace of Culture is over there, but also a very lovely park, as you can see. Something to be explored a little bit later on. Pretty little balcony, an old building. Wood roof, about ready to I think this is some of the French style. I think it was the same kind of, whatever you want to call it, tower like built into a corner that you saw in Lima, Peru. It wasn't Lima, it was Buenos Aires. I'm not going to that restaurant, but it's a pretty sign. Another pretty building not too far from the restaurant. Here's a pretty little local square, just a little triangular square really. KFC. Don't know who this hero is standing high in his stirrups. These trolleys seem so cool. This area is neat because it's a whole bunch of little streets that kind of come into each other. I'm thinking that's where I am, but I'm not absolutely sure if that's Ploshad, Macedonia. And the women here are pretty again, like in Albania. Macedonia, they're not. Everywhere there seems to be a nice mix of green and buildings that are in fairly decent condition. You wouldn't see this caliber of cleanliness in the buildings in Skopje. As a fellow from the Czech Republic near Prague said, Skopje reminds him of Prague 20 years ago, everything under construction. This street typifies all the streets that I've walked down this afternoon, or at least in the last couple hours, and that is some hint of design, pretty trees, and businesses. It seems to me I remember seeing that tall spire, gray spire there from the other direction. We'll see if that's true. Just in case you wanted to know how to spell McDonald's in Bulgarian. I don't know what this big building is, but I'm sure I will soon enough. Here's a building with some interesting design elements being restored. And there's something big, the Sheraton Sofia Hotel Balkan. Samsung, another pretty little courtyard area. We'll see what it is. There's a big church beyond it. Tomorrow I'll take myself on a self-guided tour and we'll probably find out what this Christian, Eastern Orthodox Christian church is, although that may be it right there. I also might take an 2-hour English tour of the city. Gives us a little clue of the cosmopolitan nature of this city. An old building that'll have some nice lines to it when it's restored. If it's restored, it's got some cute little icons up there. This KFC-owned Subway, they're on opposite sides of the street, and they're the second pair of them that I've seen in just my few block walks. An interesting building, more so ground level here, it's entryway. Another pretty park, a little one right behind where my hostel is. These huge trees, don't know what they are, maybe maple trees, not sure. This is a very pretty, imaginative, ethereal statue in this same small park. The man perhaps was a writer, a poet, or an actor for that drama and that statue.